Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's recap of The Bachelorette.
Men tell all.
Or at least some.
Alright, so we missed the first few minutes of the show, but we picked it up in the midst of the reunion.
It was basically, Chris Harrison's always tweeting how him and whoever the Bachelor or Bachelorette is that season go around and, like, crash people's viewing parties, and then they freak out.
Whatever, but Jason and Molly have a baby now. Congratulations, that's one big-headed baby. I love a big-headed baby. And then they all got on the STD bus.
All right.
They called it a party bus.
Though.
So, who are the bad boys this season? Well, the hens Emily, Allie, and Ashley chatted up with Desiree.
They're like, this is what you do at the Men Tell All.
Now first, tell Ben that he's a jerk. Then tell Brian how could he do that to anyone. And then tell James to have some neck surgery so that he can have some neck reduction.
Yeah.
Now don't be afraid to rip them a new one. You'll feel better. Alright, so the losers return. Juan Pablo was the most famous of all.
He got quite an applause.
There were people with Te amo Juan Pablo in the audience.
Seriously, he like barely got any airtime on the show, but now he's like all over it, and people are like, oh my god! You'd think he was the Beatles or something.
If they don't make him the next Bachelor, people will rip the show to shreds.
No, Zach.
I know. Well,
Zachy.
Juan Pablo got an awful lot of interview time, too.
He did.
It was like, Juan Pablo, voice of reason, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, lots of drama on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, so then there was a little clip package about some of the losers.
You know, the fantasy suite loser, the guy with the girlfriend.
Brian S.
They're going to go over this about 10 times before the show ends.
I give it a...
Yeah. Creepy Ben, using his kid.
And No Neck James.
Yeah. Well, Brian, the one who had a girlfriend, didn't show up, so they talked about him a lot behind his back.
Behind his back on TV.
The same old thing over and over and over.
How could he do that?
All right, kids, let's break it down. Let's put Ben in the hot seat. So, yes, he showed up first night with his son Brody, cute kid, but way to whore him out.
Yeah. Michael prosecuted him.
He was bitter after he got dumped. That's how he spun why he was such a douche when he was like, hey, Hollywood, where's the girls?
Yeah. Well, one of the guys said that Ben's baby mama met up with him in Las Vegas and was like, Ben is a D-bag.
And he just filed for child, you know, he just started giving me child support, whatever, yeah, it's a mess. And he's all like, you don't know my life. And the guy was like, hey, she found me.
Yeah. So then Chris Harrison was like, are any of the guys good dads? Like,
Juan Pablo? He's a great dad.
he loves his daughter.
Camila. All right, so let's talk about James.
Oh, this went on forever.
He basically blamed everything on Mikey. And Mikey was just like, what? Was I there?
I felt like this segment literally went on forever.
Over and over. We were just having a real men conversation. We just were, if I didn't get Desiree, I just want to meet some successful women because we're like both from Chicago.
So the audience really hated James.
As does everyone. And when Chris Harrison broached the subject of could you possibly be the next Bachelor, the audience was like, no!
Yeah, he was like, I don't know. Like, you could totally tell he wanted to say yes, but he would have looked like a jerk.
We'll rip his limbs off if you do that. Alright, so Mikey remembers some of the stuff when they pressed him. But basically his explanation was like, yeah, it was just a couple of boys blowing off some steam. We just want to meet some tall girls on my boat.
Mikey was like, no, we never said tall girls. All right, man, short girls, whatever.
Alright, let's get to somebody interesting. Juan Pablo.
Again, like 10-minute applause.
Everybody freaking loves him.
He's talking about his daughter Camila. He just wants a good girl.
They show them Skyping. He's so good with Camila. And that pig Desiree, she can't even say his name after all these weeks already. Juan Pablo.
Yeah. Let's talk about Zach. Zachy.
Coolest young buck ever.
He's one of my faves ever.
He's a Renaissance man. He sings, he writes, he draws, he does everything. He even goes like this.
Or
Or
yeah. So Chris Harrison was like, what went wrong? I don't think anything really went wrong.
she just didn't have that connection with him. I mean, she had a connection with him, but I guess she said she had a stronger connection with the other guys.
It was so sad. He's like, yeah, I don't meet many girls on the rig.
That's so sad. Well, thank God he doesn't go for the cocktail waitress / hookers on the rig. And not that there's anything wrong with that, if that's what you do.
So then Chris Harrison breaks out the journal that Zach gave to Desiree.
And it still is not clear whether she read the poem in the back of it or not that he wrote in invisible ink, which we thought was actually a joke at first, but it really wasn't.
It was really there, and he read it.
It was amazing. It was a
great poem.
really great, deep poem. Deep, and they showed the audience. People were crying. What was with all the audience reactions?
The
tonight?
audience
They
reactions were
intense.
bizarre.
They were intense.
But it was time for Des to arrive.
Whatever. So the fantasy suite dude, after Chris Harrison said, "Did you throw up in your mouth?" and she said yes,
It's kinda
he
mean.
apologized, and she was like, "Whatever."
She's like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. Then Ben basically, "You're insincere, you're a douchebag and a tool." She didn't use those words, but that's what she meant. And James, she didn't get to say much to him. He was all like, "You let them do this to me, Des."
She said that he manipulated her, which is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and he just manipulated her again. And then he was like, "All right, sorry." And she was like, "Whatever." And then Juan Pablo. Oh my God.
What are you, one of those audience members?
No, I'm just showing that everybody was like, "Tell me more, Juan Pablo. Tell me for hours and hours, and then tell me again." So basically, he wants to know, "Hey, Des, why no one-on-one date with me,
Yeah.
father of Camila?"
What's the deal with that?
I don't know. If I were her, I would have taken a one-on-one date.
Whoa. All right, so
If I were her.
I know.
All right, Zach. Oh my God.
He was like, he pulled a Glee. He was like, I can't put into words what I have to say, so I wrote a song.
He got out the guitar,
He did his American Idol audition.
and he was really good. That was a really good song.
He's talented.
And they had to get the paddles out for the people in the audience. Clutching their hearts. My God, it would be a tough one between Zach and Juan Pablo, but I think audience rules. I think
Zach.
no, I think it might be Juan Pablo.
both.
Plus, he's got a really cool name to say. I think Chris Harrison would be working on his Spanish.
I don't know.
All right, so it's blooper reel time.
There were a couple fires this season.
A little dangerous. Some lights falling in the middle of a date, too, because some jackweed tied them up with some rope instead of chain.
Yeah.
They caught on fire and burnt. in
Couple
case you didn't get that.
wipeouts.
Some flubs. Nothing too serious. It was all in good fun. Just some boys blowing off some steam.
It's a real men conversation.
All right, so then they hawked the old 2-part finale.
Most emotional ever.
Yes, they've said that before, but this time they're ready for you to believe them.
They're going to Antigua. There's 3 guys left. Brooks, Drew, and Chris.
And again, I gotta say, the audience reactions after that were like,
What?
then, instead of the traditional bloopers at the end, additional bloopers,
They ran out of bloopers, so they had to interview the hens in the audience.
quack, quack, quack. No,
Quack.
they were all like,
I feel like we're on Arrested Development.
"Oh my God, I just want Des to be happy." It doesn't look like she's gonna be happy. Those hens know where it's at. They paid attention to the clips.
Yep.
All right, kids, so make sure you tune in next week for the beginning of the end. Till then, much
Much
love.
love.